Hello friends, today I have a Taylor 514 CE here. Beautiful, gorgeous guitar. And it comes with the ES2 system. So it's the ES2 system by Taylor. And it's a love-hate pickup system. I would actually think there's a lot more hate. I actually think there's a lot more hate than love for this system. Many people are just unable to dial in a tone that is suitable for playing. So I'm going to be replacing, not exactly replacing, but I'm going to be changing the pickup system from the ES2 to the much loved LR Baggs Anthem. And there are some issues installing this Anthem onto the Taylor. I'll be going through them one by one. The first thing is that the Anthem has its own output jack, right? And the Taylor ES2 has its own output jack as well. So what I want to do is to replace this output jack while keeping the external battery compartment, because I think it's really convenient to be able to switch the batteries out from outside here rather than having the typical pouch, the battery pouch inside, and it's quite inaccessible to reach the pouch. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that there is the ES2 pickup system here. So we're gonna have to install the Anthem strip, the Anthem piezo strip inside. I don't think that will be much of an issue. Another issue that we have is that the Anthem is made for X-braced guitars. So this Taylor CE is this Taylor 514 CE is actually a V brace. What that means is that you have the brace running down the sides here. Okay, so you can go online and see the differences of how a V brace and X brace is. And basically this one does not fit properly. So I don't know if you can see it. So you can see there's the bracing over here. So the Anthem does not sit. It is actually preventing the Anthem from sitting flush to the top of the guitar. I'm going to be doing this by stacking up more foam tape to raise the height of these points. And then it should overlap the brace. So let's say the brace is this thick. I want to be stacking the points higher than the brace so that it can fit onto the top of the guitar. And if you're having trouble understanding what I'm trying to say, it'll be best to show you how I'll be doing it. Okay, so first things first, we want to remove this battery jack. Okay, so when you remove the battery, there's actually two screws here that you can just unscrew, and this whole thing should come off easily. And when you remove it, you'll see that it's connected to this piece of wire. It's very easily, you can just unclip it by pressing down on this and just pulling it out. This is part of the Taylor ES2 pickup system. So what we want to do is to remove this thing completely and then replace this with the Anthem jack. But a problem that we have is that this will not come off. So I tried to remove it, I scratched up the surface, and I went online to do some research, and I found that many people say this thing is glued on. Yeah, so we have to twist it off, and there might be a chance of breaking it or not. But either way, we're not going to be using this anymore. So I'll show you how I'm going to do it. Firstly, what you want to do is to grab some pliers or whatever you have. So I have this one here where I can adjust it to the appropriate depth and just hold on right onto the output like this. And then I'll grab another pair of pliers and I'm going to twist this. So I already did this, and it's going to be a bit tight at first, but you just want to hold on onto both snugly and just twist it. You'll hear a crack or a pop, and that is the glue that is breaking loose. Okay, so for whatever reason, Taylor glues this on. Taylor glues on the output jack. I think it's probably for safety issues, just to prevent it from coming out. Or a more sinister reason is that they might not want you to be tampering with their ES2 system. Whatever the case is, I'm going to be replacing it, so I'm going to temper it. Okay, so after you remove this will twist off just like any regular jack. So you can see there's a screw over here. So you twist it off, and then you'll be able to remove the jack like this. Okay, so I'm going to be unsoldering these wires here, and we're not going to be using this anymore. So once I unsolder this, I'll fit the Anthem output jack right outside here. Okay, and then I will solder the Anthem's battery connectors to this point instead. So basically the only difference is that instead of using the pouch that the Anthem came with, I'm going to be using this instead. There's no difference, it's just instead of internal pouch, it's going to be external battery pouch, which is much more convenient. Alright, so let's get to work. Alright, so I've removed the Taylor ES2 output and unsoldered the battery compartment as well. So now I'm going to fit in the Anthem's output jack. It should be a pretty straightforward fit for this. So let's see. And the problem with filming on your phone is you get notifications while you're doing it. Okay, so you can see that it fits perfectly into the hole here. And now we're just going to put in the appropriate nuts and washers. Tighten this down. And I'm gonna use this little wrench here. And then lastly, you just want to screw on the cap. And there you have it. So this one fits perfectly. No extra drilling is required. This is how it's gonna look when it's all done. Alright, so we have this settled. The next thing we want to do is to solder on the battery clip here. So this is the battery clip that comes with the Anthem pickup. And we are not going to be using this battery clip. So what we have to do is to cut this off and then solder the appropriate wires accordingly. However, this is a bit short. So where the preamp for the Anthem is going to sit, this is too short to reach the end where the output jack is going to be. So you're going to have to do a bit of soldering to extend these cables in order to reach the end of the output jack. Alright, so again, to recap, we just need to cut this off, extend the wires and solder them onto the appropriate points. So you can see over here, I'm not sure if you can see it. It shows a positive and negative, so you just have to find out which one to wire it in. Again, it should be pretty straightforward if you know how to do any soldering. Alright, so I'll be back after I'm done with this. Okay, so I'm done with the battery clip extension. So I've connected the wires and put some heat shrink on there and connected the ends to the positive and negative. So this should be the appropriate length to fit from the end of the guitar all the way to the preamp. And for length-wise, how long you will need, you have to measure it. It's always good to have extra and not need that extra length than to need the extra length and not have it, if you know what I mean. So basically what I'm saying is, it's always good to over measure than under measure. So the next thing I'm going to do is to be drilling the holes for the piezo strip to go through under the saddle. So one thing to take note of is that if you want to remove the saddle on the guitar with the ES2 system, you have to loosen up these hex screws here, because these hex screws are pinching onto the saddle and you won't be able to remove it without unloosening these screws. So once you have unloosened them, you can just slide it out just like that. Just to be safe, before drilling, I'm going to be removing this ES2 pickup system, and then I'll be putting it back after drilling the holes. When you remove the ES2 pickup, it's going to look like this. Just put it aside, and then you have your free space to drill in the holes. Alright, so this is the end product after you've drilled the holes. One hole here for the piezo strip to go through, and an angled hole here for the end of the piezo strip to slip in. And now you can just install the saddle back on top. However, remember that the added piezo strip will increase the height of the saddle, so you want to sand down the saddle accordingly for the appropriate setup. So earlier we mentioned that the height of the mounting for the preamp is too low for the V-brace. What I've done here is that I've increased the height of the joints, and I've done this by stacking up 3M tape. And you can see here that it's the same foam tape that the Anthem is using. So for example, if this is the brace at the top of the guitar, now with the increased height, it passes the brace and is able to stick to the top of the guitar. So without stacking this, the brace will be sticking above and you will be unable to mount the tape onto the top of the guitar. So now with the extension, it should sit nicely on the top of the guitar. So let me install this. Okay, we are finally done with the installation. You can see where the preamp is installed here at the edge of the sound hole. Guitar is plugged in. And now for the moment of truth.